All right, and now one more video from today. And in this video, I will just give a brief example of how freestyling, staying true, can help you to master this, what I call the subtle art of staying true. And this can be such a joyful skill that you can learn, that you can apply to pretty much every area of your life. You can use this skill in business, in personal relationship, in meditation, in any other skill you're trying to learn, playing an instrument. It can help you with everything, literally everything. And how I want to embody or sort of be an example of this today is that all that you really need to do in order to start mastering this skill is to jump on that wave, to start flowing, to, if you will, maybe even record yourself, or there's also writing forms of doing this. Or if you're being creative, you can also use other expressions, even dance or singing, or just using vocal sounds. It can help you to freestyle staying true. And what I mean by that is just by giving yourself the opportunity, allowing yourself to flow. There is inspirations and energies inside of you. And actually, before we continue into that, let's make sure that you can actually acknowledge that there is something inside of you that wants to be brought forth. There's something inside of you that is asking for attention, and not in the needy way, asking for attention, like I would say in an honorable way, just calling your soul, calling you like, hey, act on this. This feels good. This is aligned. Let this flow. Speak this out. Allow these emotions and expressions to move through you without indulging in them, without becoming identified by them. But just to take this step by step and to confirm this for yourself, just, if you will, place your hand on your heart and just assess whether there are certain things that you would like to express. And most likely the answer is yes, there are certain things which you would like to express. And if the answer is no, then either turn off this video or just stay tuned because you think it's fun. But so I don't know if you call this the premise, or basically the statement is like, there's something inside of you that wants to express. We can all just acknowledge that. Now, we do not always allow ourselves to express these things because we have certain beliefs. It's not safe. I cannot do this. We have developed or picked up from society all kinds of ideas that our spirit doesn't agree with, that actually keeps us from just naturally flowing. And I even notice it in these videos where sometimes certain ideas wants to come through and I feel like the power of it, but sometimes because I have like some relative fears, I like pinch off the flow slightly. And that's okay in a sense. That is normal with how insecure this society is, or how most of us haven't been raised to really believe and trust in ourselves and in our flow. And in a sense, it's also just natural for later in your life to develop the wisdom, like, okay, what is actually something that I want to express, and what is maybe something that is a little bit distorted that I want to express, which doesn't really align with my integrity or with the unity of my being. So you want to express something. And I want to share that there's many ways in which you can, in a sense, build momentum to starting to express more your authentic self. And you can first do this in the safety of your own home by just recording a video and by just starting to share, just starting to freestyle. Maybe starting to sing, maybe starting to write, and just write. Give yourself a certain time slot and be like, okay, for this specific time slot, I'm just gonna just blur out everything, just like completely exhale, hang out the dirty laundry, or air out the dirty laundry. I think that's a saying. And just give yourself that permission to just open up, to express. And then it's also just interesting to notice where you're like, oh no, I cannot do that. That's not safe. And just to notice that. Just to notice how scared we are in a sense of just expressing our greatness as well. Usually we keep ourselves small. No, I don't want to offend anyone. Well, that's actually the most arrogant thing you can do, because you are withholding your true self, your true light, your true love, your true generosity, your true fearlessness. You're withholding that from the world, and you're using the world as an excuse. No, I don't want to piss them off. I don't want to do this and that. Which ultimately is helpful to see without any judgment that that is a selfish thing. It's not very generous. What is generous is to express yourself as truthfully as you know how. And also being able to be willing to learn that maybe if you express yourself authentically, maybe a part of that isn't authentic, or it's a little bit mixed. But you will figure that out along the way. You do have to start expressing yourself in order to refine that, in order to really learn the surfing technique, in order to really learn the subtle art of staying true. You need to catch a wave, you need to go on that wave, and on that wave, then you can refine your technique. So in order to refine your expression, to refine your X, your soul signature, you will need to start expressing in safe settings. First by yourself, then maybe on a one-on-one with me or with another person that you trust, and then refine that expression. Be willing to learn, and then sky's the limit, my friend. You can start expressing greater and greater truths that are inside of you, and you will just go inside of yourself, and so much more wisdom and knowledge is able to move through you. Just because you're more empty and available, and you're just allowing the resonance, the intelligence of life to move through you unobstructedly. But first you need to start opening that window, opening that valve, no matter how scary it is. Start opening it up, start even flirting with the idea, what would happen if I would stop caring about how other people perceive my expression? Allow yourself to feel the freedom of that. What if you wouldn't care how other people perceive your expression? And mind you, this doesn't mean that you become like totally arrogant or become one of those people. I'm just expressing myself and I don't care about what other people. That is like a distorted way of doing that. You're still open, you're still humble, you're still willing to learn, but you just trust where you're coming from. Another way of saying this, you just trust from which space you are expressing, and that space inherently is good and loving and open, and it's not like flawless or perfect. On a relative level, you could be expressing yourself from a place which you feel is perfect and flawless. And on a relative level, how it comes out still might not be perceived as flawless. But this is not the point. The point is just to stay as true as you can to the most truthful place and express from there, express from there, express from there. And just practice, my friend. This is like, without practice, you're not really going to be able to refine. If you're just thinking about in your mind how to stay true and how to refine your expression or how to get confident in a sense, it's not going to work. You need to get out and go on the field or go on the court or go into the arena and start practicing. Start getting, in a sense, bloody or muddy or sweaty and make mistakes. And Lord knows I've feared this, and maybe to some extent this fear is still present in me, but I no longer want this fear to withhold me from just practicing, like the fear of making a mistake, of looking silly, of being perceived as a fool. At a certain point, your desire to express your true self and to also learn in that regard should start to supersede your desire for validation by people who don't even know themselves, who are not even expressing themselves authentically or don't even know how to. But that's where we're making these videos, and that's why I believe, making a difference in this collective by just starting to express ourselves more authentically, more honorably, inspires others to either match that energy or maybe to get triggered by it. Again, in the beginning, they might get triggered by your authentic expression. And maybe there's both ways in that. Maybe you can be more honorable or more balanced or have a more sincere intention. But also maybe they can learn from it, and maybe a seed is planted. And maybe they will, in this lifetime, the next lifetime, awaken to that themselves. It's such a greater game than we can actually imagine. And that's why I keep coming back to this in my own journey. All that we can basically do is live honorably or stay true, is another way of saying that. Be as honorable, be as much in integrity as we can, with the most amount of knowledge, wisdom, love, light that we have access to. Make decisions from that and let the chips fall where they may. And just starting to open up this valve. This is actually what I want you to do in this video, is just flirting even with the idea, or just tuning into what is possible if you would really open this valve inside of you. What if you would truly express yourself authentically and purely humble? No sense of arrogance, no sense of position. You just honestly sharing the space that you are connected to. Trusting that if that space is good intention, then it doesn't matter how it's perceived. It really doesn't matter. The whole world could hate you for it, but if you know that you had the right intention, you came from an honorable, sincere place, then it shouldn't matter what the world thinks of you. It really shouldn't. And that is a great power and a great freedom that no amount of validation and having other people like you can compare with true integrity, with true honor. So just to summarize this entire video, it would be awesome if you can open yourself up, tune into the potential of what it would be like for you to really master this subtle art of staying true on the expressionate level, like being able to be true and authentic to your real expression. Regardless of the circumstances, you will express the highest, truest, most honorable, most natural, organic state that you have access to. And this is a practice, this is a commitment that you keep needing to come back to and refine your technique. But if you choose to master this skill of staying true, it will seep down into every other area of your life. And you can start with small practices like recording a video and just flowing. And even if you fuck up, just keep flowing, just keep correcting. You don't have to post it yet, you don't have to put it online yet. Or writing, or dancing. Move that holy body, my friend. Just start moving, just start freely allowing the intelligence to flow through you. And in the beginning, you will notice it's kind of rusty or a little bit awkward. But the more you start flowing, the more that you will refine this technique. And at a certain point, you will be surfing this infinity, as I've said before, and you will be a master surfer. You can do loopings and saltos and all of these things. But in the beginning, just stick to the basics. Just just focus on staying balanced, on just starting to flow, and noticing when you pinch yourself off, when, in a sense, you throw yourself off the wave. And again, forgive yourself. It doesn't matter. Just get back up. Just refresh, tune back in and start expressing. This is also, for me, it's training to record these videos. It's to purify my expression, my ability to transmit from a truer and purer state every time. And even if I'm not perfect in this yet, like, I just don't care. I just upload these videos because I believe it will help somebody. People have reflected this, and even if it just helped one person to inspire to live a little bit better, then it works both ways. And I have benefited from it, and they have benefited from it. So even if it's not perfect yet, even if it's not up to par or the standard that I want truly my expression and my ex to be, in the meantime, I also feel it's inspirational to, in a sense, show my art. If you look at my oldest videos, you will probably see a difference, at least like overall. And I feel like this will steadily grow the more that I embrace practicing, making these videos, uploading them, not being too judgmental, but being honest. Where can I improve? Having other people, my lovely audience, reflect back to me like, hey, I would do this, I would do that. I welcome that. I just want to become better at staying true. Like, I feel like I have no personal stake in this, or like, I will personally get triggered once you say, hey, Max, I think you're fucking up here, or this is not, I would say, a wise way. Like, I welcome all of that. And I'm not saying that I'm free, that I won't get triggered when people give me reflections. But I do know at the end of the day, something I will always return to is just the skill of staying true. And then a relative trigger is fine. Just from the deeper state of being, like it's like being the ocean and having these relative waves. It's insubstantial. It doesn't really matter. And my real intention, my real desire is to just come from the deepest depths that I have access to, shine the truest light, share the purest love, and do that with other like-minded beings who also want to share just the purest love, the highest wisdom, or the truest light that they have access to. Like, that to me sounds like the greatest party on earth that we could have. And it sounds like great training as well, and great challenge concerning how seemingly much challenge and darkness here there is on earth. I will leave it at that, my friend. This is really my invitation also for more. If you have watched my videos, if this somehow has benefited you, feel free to, in a sense, comment under my videos, to also just express, or just allow that flow, that ability to express yourself truly, just to practice that. There's no judgment from my side. And it's just like a beautiful exchange that allows all of us to refine our perceptions, to become more honest, to become more sincere, to become less triggerable. Because anything that triggers us just allows us with an opportunity to become more free, to allow those service level triggers to just appear, to not take it personal, and to become, in a sense, more stable as well, to not be swayed by all of these appearances and by other people's actions, because then we're still a slave to that, and we're not truly the creator, the chooser of what we want to experience. And ultimately, I believe we are the creator. We're not a victim to anything out there. You are the creator. You are that I am X principle that knows this experience and that creates this experience, and that has total free will to decide what it wants to emit and radiate and play, and what your game is. And my game is to serve the whole, to give my all to life, because life has given me everything. The least I can do to honor it is just to give everything back. And so that's what I'm doing. And if you want, join me again on this journey of just opening that valve, giving it all that we got, being completely and utterly willing to learn, and create the most beautiful creation that we can with the cards that we've been dealt on this earth. All right. Take care, my friend. The invitation stands. Feel free to share, to express whatever you want in the comments. Feel free to start a practice in which you either record yourself, start dancing, freestyle writing. Just one way in which you practice this subtle art of staying true, in which you practice this freestyling of moment by moment, honoring the most truthful thing in you, and playing that like it's a joyful game that you want to play. Because I believe, it's my conviction, that this is what you want. You would want to do nothing else than just stay true to your I am and to your X, to just play your instrument, to just play your song. Oh. Right, take care, my friend. I'll see you in the next video. Stay true.